Wednesday, it's going to be 86. Thursday, 88. Friday, we dip down a little bit to 84. And Saturday, beautiful 81 degrees. Our overnights will be 61 and then 50s throughout the rest of the week. And if you are on the UNLV campus today, it is currently 77 degrees with 10 miles of visibility and winds at 10 miles per hour with 15% humidity. And tonight at the UNLV campus, it's going to be 62 degrees with clear, cool conditions and humidity at 15%. It's a beautiful night to be out at UNLV. And that's all the weather I have for you today. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Bree. Coming up, a suspect is behind bars after a recent sexual assault case right here on campus. We have the latest surrounding the investigation.
Plus, a settlement from Fox News and Bill O'Reilly are coming to surface again. Why talks about his contract is causing some uproar. Studio G will be right back after these brief messages.
I really enjoy doing my show. I love all types of rock, and that's why I'm doing Rock Through the Decades. We play the 50s all the way to today's rock music or rock bands. I want them to get the appreciation of how much rock has changed over the years and how it's still really great. You can never kill rock. I mean, rock is like the way to be, the way to go. The name of my show is Rock Through the Decades, and I am Rockin' Gemini. You can listen to this on the Rebel HD2 network.
Our Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
The show's name is the Rebel and Revolt Show. Pretty good show about, just someone who will actually talk about UNLV the way an outsider might feel. We talk about current events, we talk about politics, try to take an offensive swing with it. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but and then we talk about, the little things in life that everybody laughs about. And we are the Rebels and we are revolting. My name is Jameson Wilk and I run the Rebel and Revolt Show, and you can tune in at therebelhd2.com.
Welcome back to Studio G.
Here are a few of today's top stories.
21-year-old Jawan Washington was taken into police custody on Sunday. Washington is accused of kidnapping and sexual assaulting a woman. It happened at the Cottage Grove parking garage Friday morning. A woman was approached by an armed man at her car. He then forced her back in. Police believe Washington ordered her to drive to the intersection of Katy and Cambridge. She was forced to perform a sexual act on him, but managed to grab his gun and escape. His charges include kidnapping with a deadly weapon, coercion with a threat of force, and 6 counts of open lewdness.
Fox News is under fire for renewing Bill O'Reilly's contract last January, despite knowing he settled a massive sexual misconduct lawsuit against him. CNN reporter Diane Gallagher has more.
$32 million. That's the amount the New York Times reports Bill O'Reilly paid to longtime Fox News legal analyst Lise Yuill. According to the Times, Yuill threatened to sue O'Reilly for alleged sexual misconduct. A month later, Fox News renewed O'Reilly's contract for $25 million a year. The contract included protections allowing Fox to dismiss him in the event of new allegations, protections the company used just 2 months later, after the Times revealed the existence of other settlements with women who had accused O'Reilly of sexual harassment or verbal abuse. Now, here's what O'Reilly told NBC News about the sexual allegations against him just last month.
My conscience is clear. What I have done is organized a legal team to get the truth to the American people. I can go to sleep at night very well, knowing that I never mistreated anyone on my watch in 42 years.
The $32 million payout to Yuill is far higher than any of the previously known settlements. The New York Times expose comes at a time when O'Reilly is actively seeking a new TV commentary job, meaning he could be challenging Fox. His camp believes the leaks about the Yuill settlement might be coming from Fox to hurt him. An O'Reilly spokesman writes, "The Times printed leaked information provided by anonymous sources that is out of context, false, defamatory, and obviously designed to embarrass Bill O'Reilly and to keep him from competing in the marketplace."
Fox News contributor Gretchen Carlson called out her employer after the allegations were made public. She was horrified that a company would allow an employee back on air after the claims.
Celebrity chef John Nidetch sent a message to his employees stating he was leaving the Besh restaurant group 48 hours before a series of sexual harassment allegations were made public. One of the allegations came from a female employee who filed an Equal Employment Opportunity Commission complaint. In the complaint, she says she felt pressured by Besh. He admits there were a sexual relationship but claims it was consensual.
I think that women know it's wrong. They know there are laws in place, but they are afraid to take the risk, and we can understand why. Look at what they go through and the attack that is made on these women when they do come forward.
Writer and director James Toback is on the receiving end of several sexual harassment allegations. CNN reporter David Daniel has the latest.
Can you tell teleprompter to speed it up for me, because
figure hit by allegations of sexual harassment. Numerous women went on the record for a Los Angeles Times story with often explicit descriptions of encounters with Toback that they say go back to the 1980s. Toback is best known for the films Black and White and Two Girls and a Guy, and for his Oscar-nominated script for Bugsy. CNN has reached out to Toback for comment on the allegations, but has not heard back. The LA Times reported that Toback said he had not met any of the women, or if he had, it was for 5 minutes, and he had no recollection.
America, they want someone to love, but they want someone to hate.
The first teaser is out for I, Tonya, starring Margot Robbie as controversial figure skater Tonya Harding. A lot of buzz is building for the pic, which opens December 8th.
You were a cornerstone of activism. You're inspiring.
I'm tired of doing the impossible for the ungrateful.
If you saw Denzel Washington in Roman J. Israel Esquire at the Toronto Film Festival, you might want to see it again. According to Deadline, after it got a positive but mixed reception at Toronto, Washington and the film's creative team spent weeks revising it, cutting 12 minutes of running time, moving scenes around, and changing much of the music, a move spearheaded by Washington. You can see the results when the movie opens November 10th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
At least 38 women have talked to the Los Angeles Times about Toback's behavior. 31 of them have gone on the record recalling the harassment.
Coming up, Ashley Yuill from the Jean Nidetch Women's Center is in the studio.
We'll sit down and talk to her about the hashtag #MeToo trend on Twitter and the revelations regarding Harvey Weinstein. We'll be right back after these messages.
Studio G, at first it looks overwhelming, and at first it looks like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, it's the most beneficial class I've had at UNLV to date, without a doubt. You get to not only develop stories and work on your interviewing skills, your editing skills, and your shooting skills from a camera perspective, you get to work on all the equipment that's in the studio. So you're working on audio, you're working on directing, tech directing, you get to produce your own show. You can take a 30-minute newscast and make it your own, and that's really cool about Studio G. Like I said, a lot of it seems overwhelming at first, but it is by far the best class I've taken at UNLV since I've been here.
Your community's farmers market. Welcoming, lively, friendly. A place where neighbors and friends come together to celebrate their community. With over 50 vendors, organic, sustainable, fresh produce are available just for you. Support and buy local at Fresh 52.
I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought it was just going to be fun, just me in a room playing music. And it's blossomed into something beyond what I imagined. Like, people just love it. There's like, a lot of people are eager and excited to be a part of UNLV radio. A lot of people didn't even know UNLV had a radio station, so I'm glad to be bringing that awareness to the Vegas community.
It feels great. You know, it's a great accomplishment because it starts as something that nobody knows about, and you get to build it from the ground up. So it builds your work ethic. It also gives you a sense of accomplishment when it's like, man, we made it. We did something. We made something that nobody else has made. So
it's great to be part of the student community and having to bring something to the student body with music, which is one of my passions.
I feel like it's giving me a voice, and not just for me, but for people who have something they are passionate about. And I just want to, keep that conversation going and let other people see what we're talking about here.
It's amazing to have an opportunity to play whatever it is that you want to play. It's also a great way to connect and meet with new artists, great people, just music lovers in general.
What's up, it's your girl Scribe Cash. This is
the Prince Madison. This is the Takeover.
Played by the Video Games Live Orchestra.
Yeah, on Twitter, @MilesLowMusic and
Welcome back to Studio G. I am Kayleen Talents, and today we have Ashley Yuill from the Jean Nidetch Women's Center. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So for those that are unaware about the Women's Center, how does it help those that are affected by domestic violence?
Well, first, I think the biggest misconception about the Women's Center is that we only serve women, which makes sense because that is, in fact, our name. But how we serve victims, survivors of domestic violence is, one, we have gender-inclusive services. So we don't just serve women. We also serve men, and we also serve those who are gender non-conforming or those who don't identify as male or female. The biggest way that we support those folks is by providing the space for them to let us know what has happened, and we don't judge. We also don't question whether or not that actually happened. I think that's the most beneficial thing that we can do for victim survivors, because very often they're surrounded by the question of, did it really happen? Or was there something I could have done to prevent this from happening? What did I do to deserve this? Or what did I do to make this continue? And what we do at the JNWC, at the Women's Center, is provide that space for a victim survivor to come in exactly as they are and exactly as they are not, and really share what has been going on in a space where we won't be traumatized, where we actually have the training to not be traumatized by what we're hearing. And we can also listen to what's going on and not be shocked or not be surprised, or what I mean by that is not, sometimes when you talk to your friends, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to you. Mm-hmm. And then the survivor doesn't have the space to talk freely anymore because they want to protect who they're talking to. They don't need to protect us. We support them and we listen to what's been going on, and we can provide resources or options that's available to that individual.
And what are the statistics of domestic violence at the Women's Center?
Our numbers, I would say, of course, they're higher than we would ever want them to be, because we would love for folks to not need our services. However, what we know about campus statistics is that approximately 1 in 5 women will be the victim survivor of an attempted or completed sexual assault. And our numbers from the clients that we see don't match that. So what we know about our statistics is that they're low, in that students, staff, and faculty may not know that we're there or may not know that our services are available to them. As far as dating and domestic violence clients, those numbers are higher. I don't exactly have the statistics, but I do know that those numbers are higher because it's a little bit more common for folks to want to come to us for dating violence. Mm-hmm. And then the area where our numbers are the lowest is stalking. I think that we as an agency think that that is because most folks don't know what stalking really is. And so we have this idea as a society that stalking, like sexual assault, is somebody jumping out of the bushes, somebody taking these extreme measures. And stalking can be anything from a partner or an ex-partner constantly reaching out to that person, texting them, direct messaging them, following them on Instagram, commenting on all their pictures, emailing them, talking to their friends about them, even when the person has asked repeatedly that they not do that. That is also considered a form of stalking, and our numbers are pretty low for that.
And what would you say are mental and physical side effects of a victim?
That's a good question. It depends also on kind of what we're talking about. Primarily what we look at is trauma. When someone suffers some type of traumatic when someone suffers a traumatic event, not only do they have physical side effects, but they can also have some neurological or some mental things that are going on. The best way to talk about someone who's been triggered, right, which is a word that gets overused on social media all the time. Someone gets offended and we call it triggered. That's not what it is. Being triggered is something really serious. The way that I like to describe that is at any given point in time, our brain is remembering things. At the end of the day, it will erase or delete the things we don't need to remember anymore. In this situation, my brain is not going to need to remember how many lights there were. It's not going to need to remember every single question that you asked. However, in a traumatic event, when my brain snapshots exactly what has happened, it doesn't forget. It's not going to forget everything that I've seen or everything that I've smelled. Right. It goes into this survival mode. So what it means to be triggered by a traumatic event is that what can happen is maybe weeks down the road, months down the road, or even years down the road, something can happen that can trigger my traumatic memory, and I don't have any control over it. So maybe I'm sitting in another room and there's a similar coffee table that I'm looking at, or maybe the person I'm looking at has the same colored dress that you do. And because I suffered something traumatic, my brain will immediately see these triggers and go, oh my gosh, the last time that I saw this, I had to survive. And then I go back into survival mode. It can look like panic attacks. It can look like crying. It can look like being disoriented to where you are, and it can feel out of control. A lot of times people will say, I feel crazy, but I'm not crazy. Right. So I would say every person is different. Some of the effects of trauma can also be complete numbness. Someone suffers something truly traumatic and they don't respond emotionally. They don't respond with a lot of crying or screaming, and so it really does look different on every single person.
And what were your thoughts about #MeToo? I'm sure that was a big deal.
It was, and we had a lot of thoughts. So first, the important thing to know, and I didn't know this either, is that the #MeToo campaign was actually started 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice. By an activist named Tarana Burke, I believe is her name. And so with these new allegations, the Me Too campaign resurfaced. So it was a powerful campaign. It was a great campaign. It also isn't perfect. So in the ways that it was powerful is it really gave voice to those survivors of sexual assault and sexual harassment who didn't previously feel like they had that voice. It gave folks the option to really share with their followers or friends and families that this is something that is so common and it's not being talked about. And for some folks who felt safe disclosing themselves on social media, that was a great platform to finally be heard. It also it was triggering for some folks, those who are survivors of sexual assault and sexual harassment, to suddenly have all of these instances flooding through their newsfeed. That can be really tough to see and really tough to read. And then one of the other kind of points that didn't get talked about was the conversation about who could use the hashtag. So it was a great platform for specifically women victim survivors of sexual harassment and sexual assault, which is fantastic. It also didn't give voice to male victims or gender nonconforming folks. So again, it was a great campaign. It was very powerful, and it was nice to see just this topic coming to light and being something that folks refused to be quiet about. Also, being in the service that we're in, we understood that there was a lot of caretaking that needed to take place. So we made ourselves available not only to students, staff, and faculty, but also to our own advocates who may have been triggered by what they saw.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. That's all the time we have. Again, I would like to thank you, Ms. Yuill, for coming in today, and we will be right back.
get to do an internship, you have to do an internship. It's one of the requirements for a journalism major. You have to do an internship before you can graduate.
Definitely having an internship as a requirement really helps push yourself out there and to just remind you that your graduation is coming up soon. You're going to have to need some work experience in your career. So it's really good to put yourself out there early on, and they tend to help students a lot more. So when you do a student internship, it really helps out a lot.
Our Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
We are member supported. KUNV 91.5, The Source. Here's why you should become a member. Become a part of the public radio family while keeping jazz alive in Southern Nevada. Every member receives a discount card to businesses and restaurants around the valley, along with a premium of KUNV branded items, exclusive access to KUNV ticket giveaways for concerts and events, and private members-only events with prominent musicians such as Paul Taylor, Vincent Ingala, and many more. We are 91.5 The Source, and that source is you. So become a member today.
Welcome back. In other news, Donald Trump, for the second time in his presidency, awarded the Medal of Honor during a ceremony Monday at the White House. Trump presented the highest military honor to Gary Michael Rose, a retired U.S. Army captain who served as a medic in the Vietnam War, saving lives while risking his own during a 4-day operation, despite being seriously wounded himself.
Slash through the dense jungle, dodge bullets, dodge explosives, dodged everything that you can dodge because they threw it all at him, and continuously returned fire as they moved deeper and deeper and deeper into enemy territory. Throughout the engagement, Mike rescued those in distress.
Rose is receiving the honor for repeatedly risking his life to provide medical aid to fellow soldiers throughout the operation, using his own body at one point to shield a wounded American from enemy fire and helping to load wounded comrades into helicopters while under fire.
You will, I have to say, your will to endure, your love for your fellow soldier, your devotion to your country inspires us all. I have to tell you, that is something. Nations are formed out of the strength and patriotism that lives in the hearts of our great heroes.
Several soldiers in Rose's unit during the September 1970 mission were in attendance at the White House for the ceremony Monday and were also recognized by the president. Now, the delay in the... I'm sorry, we had some technical difficulties here. Now going on to... Give me one moment. So Monday, they were also recognized by the president. Now, the delay in the earnings, the nation's highest awarded, was because the original mission was secret. That's all the time we have for today.
Thank you so much for joining us, and also join us tomorrow for more local and national news right here on Studio G. Have a great day, Rebels.
Oh my goodness.